Hi, Linda and Jeannie.
Hi, hey.
Hi, can you just introduce yourself for the audience?
Yeah, I'm Genie Davis, and I'm a multi-published author and screenwriter and journalist. And Linda and I have written a number of books together because it's super fun to work together. And so that's kind of my background. And I'm Linda Marr, and I'm also a journalist. I mostly do television. I'm an Emmy-nominated TV news magazine producer, writer. I've also written screenplays, and like Jeannie, I've had them optioned. And just started writing books with Jeannie. She's actually written a few books before me. She's the literary writer in the group, but I'm enjoying working with her.
So how did you two meet and decide to start writing together?
We've known each other for a very long time, and we've been friends for a long time, and we had in the past written a screenplay together and shared an agent at one point, and we both worked in reality television and things like that. And so, one day we were just kind of talking, and I was saying that, I have a number, because I think I have like 8 published novels before Linda and I started working together, and I had a couple of projects that were unfinished, and I just really lost interest in finishing them. And she said, well, I bet you wouldn't lose interest if we could sit around and have lunch and talk and write them together. So that's kind of how that evolved. Yeah. And I'd written a couple of things by myself, and I didn't want to do the rewrites on them. We both write to make a living, so we get tired of just writing by ourselves. So it's kind of a fun thing that we do together.
So what are the pluses and minuses of having a writing partnership?
You can start if you'd like. Yeah. Let's see. The plus is Jeannie is fantastic. She's really talented. We laugh a lot together. We do eat lunch every time we work together. So and I think we write really well together. We complement each other. The minuses are I am anal retentive and always on time, and Jeannie is very easygoing and very much a busy journalist, and I'm always waiting for her to finish yet another assignment. Yeah, I would have to like echo that. I mean, it's really fun to write with Linda, and she keeps me organized, because I never used to like outline. I just like I was a seat of the pantser in terms of the books. Like I have a thriller out now that I just it's based on a screenplay that I wrote. But when I wrote the original screenplay, I must have done like 30 drafts before I came up with a story that I liked. So that's kind of just the way that I work. Whereas Linda's very efficient and good with that stuff, and she'll be like, no, we'll map out an outline first, and then we'll write to the outline, which makes it a lot easier to get the story down. Although we've laughed recently because several times recently we have something that we think is yeah, that's a really long book, and it turns out it's more like a half a book. Yeah. So yeah.
So you guys both mentioned being journalists. How has journalism or the craft of journalism helped you with your fiction writing?
It really hasn't. To be honest, this is Jeannie. I wrote fiction before I was a journalist, so I have a blog, www.diversionsla.com. That's diversions and then LA like Los Angeles.com. And I do a lot of arts writing for that, and I write for about 18 to 20 different periodicals. And I started that considerably after I had been writing for television, so it's had zero effect on me whatsoever, except that, maybe I can think of some characters or something like that that are people that I've interviewed, maybe. Yeah, I have to say, I feel like I'm just a writer, and most of the time I do television. So writing novels is new to me. I'm used to writing a lot of dialogue, so that probably helps a little bit. I'm used to kind of figuring out who characters are, and I'm also used to, as Jeannie said, I'm used to outlining my scripts. And as far as working for news magazines, it really hasn't, except that when you tell a story, you're telling the story. So what is the story? Where does the, and what's the end? So, that's the only thing that's similar. I mean, we're used to thinking in those kind of terms.
So you two are both based out in Los Angeles, right?
Yes, and we both live in the same area, which is another reason why we got together. I used to live like an hour away in Los Angeles. because LA's big. Yeah, LA.
It's an urban sprawl.
Yeah, and now she lives like 5 minutes from me, so yeah. That's another reason we started to get together. And we really like each other. We really don't get a chance to see each other a lot. And it's really honestly a good excuse. Like, sometimes I have to, like, really admit, it's like, why don't we just go have lunch? I guess, you know. Yeah. We feel like doing something at least.
So I used to live in Los Angeles. I'm actually from Southern California, but I used to live in Los Angeles. And, you know, I've met so many people saying, oh, I'm writing a screenplay. Oh, I'm in the entertainment industry. But you both have mentioned screenwriting a couple of times, and I know a lot of people are interested in that. Do you have any advice to people wanting to break into entertainment or to start screenwriting? Is there any classes you took or anything that you can offer people?
Well, you know, I think it just depends where they are and what kind of writers they are. I think it's really important for people who are just starting out to pick up a few books, look online, find sample scripts for whatever you want to write, look at format. Things that they deal with here is, I mean, I have a friend who does a script reading service, and she, you know, she'll give notes to people, that kind of stuff. And she said about 90% of the scripts she reads are not formatted correctly, which is a big, you know, a big no-no in this business. It's going to get your script thrown right in the garbage. So, I mean, I guess I would say to people, do your homework first. You know, everybody comes and says, oh, I have a great story or I have a great idea. Ideas are like a dime a dozen. It's you know, it's how you deal with that after. It's frankly work. Yeah.
Do you have, so I am not a screenwriter, so I'm not entirely sure about the formatting, though I do know it's different, just like it's different for playwriting. So are there any computer programs that you use that are either paid or free that you can use to actually format a screenplay?
I would say, number one, I'd say Google it, because there are some free programs. I don't know them offhand because I use one that you pay for. It's called Final Draft. Mm-hmm. And that's usually the industry standard. Also Movie Magic, but Final Draft is the major screenwriting format, and it's expensive. Or you can just do what I do before I write one on screenplays, and you can just, you know, hit tab. Yeah, well, we did that once, and then we were asked to put it inside. Yeah, I know. It just depends on who you're writing it for. I just finished ghostwriting a screenplay. But I will say there are some free programs out there. And I mean, anyone who's interested in writing screenplays, I would say, you know, find one of those free programs. Yeah. And learn how you know, learn what a screenplay looks like. Find Sid Field's first book. I forget the name of it now. But yeah. But look up Sid Field's first book, read it, commit it to memory, and go from there. And then you know, write something that you think is a sellable script. Don't write your autobiography.
So, how do you two get inspiration for your writing?
That's dumb such. I don't know. I mean, like, you know, the first book we wrote together was, like I said, was one that I had started and kind of given up on, and I gave Linda the third of it that I had written, and she kind of fleshed out, you know, the end of it. Our next book, we decided we wanted to have a similar kind of story, which was like a lighthearted romantic suspense thing. So Linda's a really good idea person, and she came up with a bunch of different like ideas for storylines, and we just kind of picked, you know, which one we decided we liked the best. And then our current young adult book, The Cannibal Hunter Bitterlands, which is the first in a series, you know, again, it was kind of, you know, dystopian. It's kind of like, you know, Buffy meets The Walking Dead, I guess, basically. Yeah. So we tend to think, I guess, in terms of sort of like long-winding kind of stuff, since both of us, you know, had done screenplays and TV, you know, first. So there's that, and then I know, thinking for me personally, I really get inspired by places. I think of a place sometimes before I think of a story. And for me, I usually like to think of an average day in the world, and what if one thing was different about it? I usually like a little sci-fi element in my stories. That's true, you do, and I usually like a little supernatural. Yeah, yeah.
Do you guys have a daily practice of writing?
I'm sorry? We couldn't hear you.
Do you have a daily practice of writing? Like, do you commit to a certain number of words each day, or do you wait until you get a little bit more inspiration and then, write 3,000 words?
Well, we make a living writing, so, you have deadlines, so you have to, it's your work. Both of us work at home, but we have to turn in things to get money, so we work on that a lot. And as far as the other stuff, I don't know. I mean, I write a lot of scripts, much more than Jeannie, because she's actually doing a lot more journalism at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, I write about 20,000 words a day, but most of that is nonfiction. Mostly these days, when Linda and I work together, that's most of the fiction that I write. Although, like I said, I did just put out a book that I myself, that was an old project of mine that I just edited. But in terms of new fresh writing, I'm really big at just with Linda, and we primarily work maybe a couple of days a week for a certain number of hours. So my daily practice of writing, I write 20,000 words a day, but it's not necessarily these projects.
I'm sure a lot of people would, their heart probably skipped a couple of beats when you said 20,000 words a day. But you don't do that with the fiction. You do that for nonfiction, for getting money, for getting paid, right?
Yeah, but I mean, some of that is fiction too. I just finished ghostwriting something. So, I just finished ghostwriting two things. I'm not going to comment on what they were, because they're both projects that I can't say I'm in love with. But there are people that paid for them, and they're fiction. So.
Do you outline that?
Huh?
Do you outline that before? Do you outline that? So if you're going to write, 20,000 words a day, do you make sure you have an outline that you're working from?
A lot of times when you're hired to do something, you're required to give it an outline before you actually write the book or the screenplay. Right. So to that extent, yes. And Linda and I have both worked on projects together that are nonfiction projects where we had to produce an outline first as well. Again, 20,000 words isn't necessarily one project. Usually, in terms of magazine articles, they're 2,500 word, articles that I'm doing, 10 of, or a bunch of product descriptions, or they're, interviews with people that I'm, shaping into a story, something like that. And as for me, this is Linda. If I'm not working on something at the moment, I don't have any word count, but I do have, a number of hours that I just make myself sit and write. So, I'll go into my office and be in there for 5 hours. Whether I'm productive or not is a different story, but, I literally make myself spend the time.
So, who are your favorite writers?
Oh, let's see, this is Jeannie. John Steinbeck, Elmore Leonard, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I read.
Well, let's put it.
Not one book a week, but I couldn't tell you without having a book in front of me who's a favorite author. Do you have that book that I lent you in the closet? I do. Yeah, I'll look for that. I like that one if I recognize. She's going to look for this book that we both like. Hold on. Look to your left a little. Pull this a little bit further out. It's in that stack of books right in the middle. Heather Young. We like Heather. We like someone named Hester Young. I think we read her first book. I actually am I go through phases. Right now I'm into mysteries and kind of spy stuff.
Who's your favorite mystery writer?
Say again now?
Who's your favorite mystery writer?
Well, I think I've gone through like 20 Jonathan Kellerman. I'm reading someone, his last name is Finder. I want to say Richard Finder. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what his first name is. What else do I like? God, I don't know. I like God, what is his name? I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank. Robert Craig. I like Robert Craig. I like Tess Gerritsen. remember. Yeah. And like, what? This is the one that everybody used to compare me to when I first wrote, marathons. Oh, God. What's her name? Sue Grafton. Oh, I thought it was Stephanie, whatever. Oh, no. They compared me to Sue Grafton. Yeah. I kind of like, but she reminded me of somebody, and I like some mystery writer who writes out of Louisiana, but I really cannot remember his name right now. Craig, somebody, which is really horrible, but I really liked his writing. Yeah, I don't know. I can look like, I read like probably a book every 2 weeks, but I couldn't tell you even the ones that I really loved. Like I read this really weird, interesting one about, I don't know if I lent you this one or not, The House on Mount Shore. I couldn't tell you the name of the author though. I guess I could grab myself and Google it.
So are there any books that have been turned into films, which there's a lot of films these days based on books, but are there any books that have been turned into films that you thought the film was just like a perfect connection? Because oftentimes you have a great book and then the movie kind of falls flat. Is there any screen translation of a book that you actually really admire?
Well, Hunger Games is really good. We like that. And personally, for me, one of my favorite translations is Silence of the Lambs. I think that was probably one of the most perfect screenplays from a really great book.
Mm-hmm. So I think I kind of asked you this, but who do you refer to for ideas or examples of good writing? So you're sitting down at your computer one day, you're 5,000 words in, but you feel a little bit stuck. Is there any book you go to kind of, flip through the pages or read a passage here and there to kind of get you refocused again and help you move forward on your writing?
No. Sorry. We're both used to writing, so, sometimes you just sit there and do it. Yeah, I mean, I can't get up and go have a drink. I get up and say, hey, I think I'm going to go see a midnight movie because I'm 5 minutes, but, no, I'm not going to. Yeah, no, we have a lot of friends who are writers, so, we'll talk to them or something, but nothing that we can really, unfortunately, help people with.
Fair enough. So can you describe your experience with publishing?
And not use any bad words? No, I'm just kidding.
You could use bad words. It doesn't matter.
No, I'm just kidding. I was, let's see, I don't know how many years ago that I first got my first fancy New York agent, but whatever that was, I had a fancy New York agent. There was a big deal that was going to go down with what is now Grand Central Publishing, a division of Time Warner. It fell apart. So that book sat on a shelf for a while. So I wrote a couple of, that was a mystery, so I wrote a couple of romantic suspenses that were sold to Kensington, which is a New York-based publisher, but doesn't pay mega bucks for their books. I had, 4 published that way or something like that. And then I tried a couple of other different publishers. Crimson being one, they were very nice, but the book sales were low. Linda and I both published with Entangled. Ditto, their book sales were very, not stellar. So, we did that. And then the mystery finally got published through 5 Star Ascentage. And then what we've been doing recently has been, basically, I guess you'd say self-publishing. I hate to use that phrase, but we started our own publishing company. And we do, control our output and our marketing.
So self-publishing, have you found there's any marketing techniques that have been effective for you?
No. Sorry. Not particularly. People either find our books and love them or they don't. I think it really helps to do an audiobook as well as a Kindle and to do a print book as well as those.
So when you self-publish, are you just going through Amazon or are you using a service like Ingram and then getting on multiple platforms? Are you taking advantage of Kindle Unlimited? Can you talk a little bit about that?
We're published on multi-platforms. Kindle Unlimited certainly gets you a lot of attention. It does not result in earning money, and that's the big problem with self-publishing today. finally we're on Amazon. The book that we like to talk about, The Cannibal Hunter, is on Amazon. And we just found out, we were wondering why we didn't make any money off it at all. Basically, we found out Amazon is for some reason offering it for free. And we're talking about the audiobook with that. The other one is not. The Kindle is not for free. It's the audiobook. Yeah, we've been doing audiobook releases, which I do again recommend if you can find a good narrator, and we have found a really good narrator. And people do buy that. The problem is that as soon as Amazon sees something that is doing relatively well, they will offer it, through their library, their unlimited, rentals, stuff. And so then the author only makes pennies.
So I've heard a lot of bad stuff about Amazon, but it seems to be like they're in the main player in terms of market share. They have,
right.
I've been told, 80% of the market share for books.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
it's kind of a catch-22, huh? So, like, if you're going to self-publish and you're going to use Amazon, you pretty much have to. You can just wait until it stops doing well in sales, and then they'll no longer give it away. And then you can, take kind of the leftovers. Or you can, again, publish to multi-platforms, like I said, like both audio and Kindle and print, because they don't seem to, like, hog all the sales from each format all at once. Unfortunately, like, selling the best right now was actually really doing pretty well in terms of sales numbers of audio for the Cannibal Hunter. And again, they are offering it as part of, their Audible, whatever it is, their club, their lending library, whatever. And so it's basically, as an author, you make maybe like 1 cent or something for, download. So you've got something that's selling for $14.95. You have, 100 people buying it. That wouldn't be bad sales for, a month with multiple books in that category. But if Amazon's going to give it away, you're not really making any money on it. So do I think that self-publishing is a way to make a lot of money? No, I do not. Yeah. Basically, you should be self-publishing just because you love to write or something, because you're not going to make that much money unless you really can work at it day and day and day, and you're sort of independently wealthy, because it's going to be you're going to need tons of books, first of all. Yeah, the more books you have, the more money you make, obviously. And again, like I said, you got to look at it as it's a marathon. It's not but it's entitled another book of mine, Marathon. But it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Yeah, I mean, you obviously in another month or so, Amazon's going to get tired of reaping all of our profits from that particular book and move on to somebody else's book. And then if we promote it properly, then we'll make some sales on it that come in at the full price.
So pricing on self-published books, there's a lot of books out there that are 99 cents. And there are some authors that swear by that. And then there's some that think, well, if I price it at 99 cents, people are going to think that the story is subpar or it's poorly edited. So they sell it for $5.99, but then they might sell 2. What are your thoughts on pricing a book?
I really don't have any. I think it really depends on, what the author, wants to make from a book and what they believe their price point is. I mean, I would never price a book for 99 cents. No. I can see no point in it because, again, Amazon is already going to offer it for like pennies to everybody that's part of Kindle Unlimited or part of Audible lending library or what have you. So what's the point? You might at least, by the time that they get tired of, reaping most of your profits for you, might as well have a $14.95 audio tape and a $3.99 book instead of a 99-cent title. That's my feeling on that. And again, I want to direct a little bit of attention. Can we move away from both these topics a little bit? Because I don't know that we're the experts on this. We're experts in talking about our own stories if people are interested in hearing about that. But I really am not prepared to give a lot of advice to people in terms of what they should or shouldn't do for book sales.
Right, and I was just taking your experience on it because everybody seems to have, oddly enough, their own unique experience. Some people like Amazon, some people hate Amazon. Actually, my general consensus is a lot of people have issues with Amazon, including a lot of small publishers also have issues with Amazon. But so are there anything we should know about your writing? Also, where can we find your guys' books, I should say?
Well, you can find all of our books, all the books that are in print right now, and a number of mine are not, but all of Linda's and mine are in print, and they are all on Amazon and B&N and Kobo, is that the other one? I think so. I forget what they are, but nobody ever uses that. And Apple iTunes, they're on, Audible, and they're on KDP, and some have print copies, and you can find them under our names, which are, again, Linda Marr, M-A-R-R, and Genie Davis, easy spelling on Davis. Genie is spelled as a G, G-E-N-I-E. And we have a couple of romantic suspenses and one great start to a young adult series, and we're about to self-publish a second young adult series book. The one that's out now, again, is The Cannibal Hunter Bitterland, and it's, again, kind of a cross between, Buffy and The Walking Dead. And, our romantic suspense books are really lighthearted and fun. One is Animal Attraction, the other is Between the Sheets. And the other, new book that's out right now, again, is my thriller, Gun to the Head.
Great. Any parting advice to authors wanting to start writing, or they just recently wrote something?
Good luck. Enjoy what you're writing. Do it for fun. Do it because you love it. And, hope that somebody will discover you and write something that is lasting fiction, is something that people are going to be reading years hence, as opposed to trying to do something quick and dirty, because it's probably not going to make you a lot of money anyway.
Great. Well, thank you both for speaking with me today.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having us.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.